Hey everyone, yes, a how to fix Doomfist video. Or I mean, I guess in this one, how to bring back one of Doomfist's old moves video. I love making these. So with the new quote-unquote buffs Doomfist got in Season 8, there has been a lot of backlash on the overall Doomfist design. And honestly, I think it deserves it. People are kind of narrowing in onto the differences of whether this is a buff or actually a nerf. And it brought up a bigger conversation of what the heck is even happening with Doomfist at this point. Because the changes of Doomfist since Season 1 have been consistently seen to be going in the wrong direction. And I mean, at least in like my opinion and several other people's opinions. And I think that the reveal of the changes that happened this week to Doomfist Ultimate was the last straw for a lot of us. Because I know it definitely was for me, because it prompted me to kind of go back and look at how Doomfist was like back in Season 1 of Overwatch 2, and even just how he was in Overwatch 1, where I had fond memories of playing Doomfist and how fun he used to be. And I started thinking more and more, as I kept kind of looking back, I was something like happened in my mind where I was just like, why couldn't they make the uppercut work? Like with all the crazy things they're doing now, and looking at like this Frankenstein Doomfist thing we have now, where they're just kind of cutting things here, adding random things nobody asked for over there. What made it so hard to make him keep his uppercut? Was it just the whole we don't want CC thing? Because that went right out the window like over the last few months. So anyways, before we get into it, like all my how to fix videos, I think this will just be a part 1 of like an overall complete rework, where we're trying to figure out how we can make his uppercut, his rising uppercut, come back and actually work in this version of the game. So, you know, after this video, I do go down into the comments. I read every single comment. I kind of look at, you know, pick people's brains, see what can work and what doesn't work, and then at the end, I do make a full rework video, kind of affecting everything, so that, you know, the character's not just like OP or anything. Also, there really are only 2 ways I can see Doomfist uppercut coming back, mainly because Doomfist is such a fast character and like so dynamic. I don't think just throwing it in and just having another button you need to press is really a good way to handle it. One where he keeps his power block but loses something else instead, and a world where he doesn't keep his power block and that's replaced with the uppercut. Because I don't want to do the whole mercy scroll thing where you have to like kind of scroll up to kind of change between, let's say, a punch and an uppercut or something like that. I don't think that's fluid. I think what made Doomfist really fun before was that he had really quick buttons. You tap, you press, because it was kind of like you were playing a fighting character. And if you guys play fighting games, which I'm sure you guys have, you have to be quick. Like it's just like real quick. I'm doing this, and you're just stringing your combos together. So I want to keep that feel, but I think there's pretty cool ways I think we can do this, and kind of also give him a variety of things he can do with each of the moves. So yeah, just keep watching the video. In my previous how to fix Doomfist videos, this is something I had tried to avoid, right? I tried to just kind of work within what they gave us, like what was in his kit. So I didn't just want to bring back something from before and just kind of throw it in there. But again, like I said earlier, with everything they're doing now, we got to do something. We got to do something to fix his play style. But honestly, I think that's like the first thing we should talk about, his play style. So right now, the way Doomfist plays, if you're trying to really, you know, get as far as you can with him, he's entirely built around building his ultimate and just punching everybody. He builds his ultimate really quickly, which I think is a good thing for the way he's designed, because it's not that useful, but he gets it like fast enough that you can kind of throw it in with everything else that you do. What I generally do, if I have my ultimate, which I normally build up my ultimate really quickly. You slam into the enemy team, right? You get a good hit on everybody. You punch somebody, you put up your power block, you get your empowered fist, so you punch a group of people, and then by this time your slam is back, so you slam back into the fight. You use your ultimate to get out of the fight, you know, wait for your cooldowns to come back down, try to kill somebody, or, you know, just build more shield. And then you have your empowered fist again from your ultimate, so you punch a group of people, and then you slam, and then you put up your power block, and then you build up your empowered punch again, and then you punch another group of people. It's that rotation of just what are those? Those are like 4 punches. 3 of them are empowered fists. And honestly, after you use your ultimate, if you do that string of combos again, you're probably already at 26% of your ultimate again. So it comes and goes like really fast. And back in Overwatch 1, Doomfist Punch was mainly used as an escape. Like you'd have like moments where you could just drop down and punch somebody into a wall and then they just like one hit KO'd, and nobody liked that. But it was mainly used for escape, right? You kind of set up on the high ground and then, you know, set up a nice sizing slam from way on top, so you hit the ground so you do more damage, and then you shoot them, uppercut, shoot them, and then you use your punch to run away. But you also had a lot of tech you could use with each of those moves, each of the punch, the slam, and the uppercut. So it wasn't solely just for that one combo. They could be mixed like several different ways. I know one thing I used to like to do was uppercut somebody and just punch them off the map because there would be like nothing protecting them. That was one of my favorite things to do. It was actually pretty effective. And punching people in the air after you uppercut them was so satisfying. You felt like a freaking Dragon Ball Z character. Anyways, his current kit really does. There's really only one way to play with him. If you want to play with him accurately, well, effectively, which is why he's entirely a feast or feed type of character. So with this and what I said before, I want to look into 2 of his moves that affect his playstyle and that would potentially need to be changed if Rising Uppercut was added back into the game. And like what I said before, I see there's only 2 ways this could work. Either he keeps his power block or he loses his power block. So in this video, I'm just going to do a scenario where he keeps his power block, and then I'll do another video of where he loses his power block, because the dynamic changes like drastically. And this video, but when I finished kind of recording everything, it was way too long to put both in here. And nobody likes the hour-long videos or anything like that, 40-minute long videos from what I've seen. So I'm just gonna do this, and then I'll do the other one, and then after that I could possibly do a complete rework, or I'll do a complete rework of a world where he has power block and one where he doesn't. But yeah, anyways, let's discuss power block. I know some of you guys won't like what I'm about to say, but I'm gonna say it, guys. I like power block. I really do like power block, and I think it's something that really got rid of his biggest weakness from when he was a DPS in Overwatch 1. Although I mained Doomfist back in Overwatch 1 and I was able to climb up to almost GM, I had stopped playing right before I was able to hit it for similar reasons. But I can say, I'll say, man, Doomfist was not a good character. he was not a consistent character. He was incredibly fun. One of the funnest things in a video game I had ever played. But he was not a good character. He was insanely hard to play and was the embodiment of feast or feed. And if you think it's bad now, it was much worse before. Back then, every single time you would attack, you'd have like a 50% chance of dying. At least a 50% chance of dying. And it wasn't even entirely like a skill issue or just being bad. It was how he was designed, and the fact that Overwatch 1 had way too much CC. So you're essentially playing in a world where, with the combo that I said earlier, if you miss any part of that combo, the slam uppercut punch out combo, you had to leave. Like, if anything goes wrong, you would have to leave, and you don't get anything from it. There's like 2 seconds of his playstyle back then where you can be productive at all, and if you messed up anything in those 2 seconds, you're just not really doing anything for your team. And what made it so hard was that everybody had the CC ability. You know, May would just freeze you, or what's his name, McCree would just flashbang you, and essentially what it ended up being is if the enemy knew where you were coming from, they would just stop you. like the way you countered Doomfist back then is just see where he's coming from and just mess up one of his combos, or rather mess up one aspect of his combo, and then he just can't kill anybody. Like, what he did would like perfectly do the 200 damage needed to get a pick and get out. And then most of the time, even if you get the pick, somebody tries to stun you while you're punching out, and then you just traded for no reason, and both of you guys are just dead. And I don't want to say this, but I'm not gonna say he was like a meme, but he was a very cheesy character. But again, what gave him his cult following was that he was an unbelievably fun character to play, despite how difficult it was to play him. So how does this tie into Power Block? So Power Block does smooth out his spikes of activity a real good amount. And that was the big problem he had in Overwatch 1 that I just said, right? He would have, for most of the time, he's not doing anything, he's just setting up, and then he has 2 seconds where he's trying to get a pick and get out, and then he has to reset all over again, which could take, 30 seconds or a great amount of time to do. Power Block smooths out his gameplay, lets him kind of stay consistent, and gives him options in my opinion. Like, it gives you some sort of protection while you completely burn through all your cooldowns and are waiting for them to like activate again. In a way, for you Haku fans out there, I'm a Haku fan, it resets your tempo. It gives you several seconds to just kind of chill, and what is it, like 3 or 4 seconds? I don't know, but it gives you several seconds to just kind of sit and chill and kind of reanalyze your situation, and get your cooldowns back so you can jump back into the fight, or you can run away, or just kind of look at where you're at and what you need to change. And that was the first, if you guys look like back maybe a year, like 2 years ago at this point, or a year and a half ago at this point, when they had the Overwatch 2 beta went kind of live for everybody. That was my first realization about Doomfist. I was like, oh, he doesn't just go in and die anymore. Like he has things he can do now to kind of reset his clip. I call it his clip, the string of attacks he can do in a short burst of time. He has things he can do now to reset his clip and then come back and re-engage or like run away. So it's no longer, slam, shoot, uppercut, shoot, punch away. It's like slam, shoot, punch, shoot, power block, empowered fist, shoot, and then you could slam away or like, slam again into the enemy team if you have your ultimate. So anyways, this is why I'm pro power block. And in this video, I'm not going to really look into the changes that need to happen to power block, but I more want to kind of go into how it can work with the uppercut. So you may be asking yourself, well then what do I think should be removed to bring back the rising uppercut? His punch? His slam? His primary fire? I say no, you fool. What about Doomfist do we all hate? What do we think is completely useless? His freaking ult. So let's talk about his ultimate. So I think we all know that Meteor Strike sucks, and if you watch my recent videos, I go into why it sucks. I think he has a bad ultimate on purpose because the rest of his kit is so powerful. Whether you like his playstyle or not, it is, under the right hands, very, very strong, but it's just super limiting. And if tomorrow they completely just removed Doomfist's ultimate, like completely out the game, he just doesn't have an ultimate anymore, there's no ult charge, like there's nothing, he would not win or lose any more than he does now. That's how that's how unconsequential his ultimate is. The only purpose for his ult is for him to be able to leave the fight, get his cooldowns back, and then re-engage. That's entirely it. And again, that's because what he has is already so strong that him just being able to consistently engage keeps him going, like keeps him strong. So again, it's also why his ultimate comes in so quickly. I've said it a million times and I'll say it again. I can get my ultimate like every other fight with Doomfist. If in a single game, I could get my ultimate like 5 or 7 times, when a lot of other characters only get it like maybe 3 or 4 times, depending on who they're playing. And this is without even me like trying that hard. Like it's just what happens. So I want to take the concept of having a low impact ultimate like he has now, that you can get often enough to kind of just throw into his kit, which finally ties into how his rising uppercut will replace his Meteor Strike ultimate. So yeah, at this point we should just get rid of Meteor Strike and replace it with the uppercut. But how do we replace one move for like an entire ultimate? And it's easy. Reduce the required ult charge needed for his move to like 60% of what it is now. When he does get his ultimate, which is his rising uppercut, he has like 15 seconds to use his ultimate button like a normal uppercut, like the old days. And I don't know, maybe it can be like on a 4-second cooldown like his punch. And I know what some of you guys might be thinking right now, right? I don't want this to be in an ultimate. I want this to be consistently on him. I don't want to have to build up my ultimate just to use this ability. Well, my response to that is, one, this video is how we can keep power block, and I do think power block is worth keeping right now. The other thing, I would say the big reason why I'm suggesting doing it this way is because Doomfist is an interesting character because when you give him a move, you don't just buff his damage output, right? When you bring down his cooldowns, you don't just buff how much he can, how much damage he can kind of dish out, how often he can do his moves. Doomfist is special in that the main way he prevents getting damage is just how fast he is. He's just too fast. He's super mobile. He's just bouncing around everywhere all the time. So when you do give him an extra move, or when you do reduce his cooldowns, you're buffing him twice. So if we were to just give him his uppercut back in the world where he has this power block, I would think that would be like a squared buff, right? He will survive more, and he'll also be doing more damage. That's just not like a straight line of a straight slope of buffing. That is an exponential buff, and I do see that would be kind of insane. Like he'd just be a monster. And plus, if we do reduce his cooldown, if we do reduce his ult charge for his ultimate to like 60% of what it is now, you would be able to get your ultimate somewhere like once per engagement, right? Right now, I can't imagine going to a fight without getting at least 40% of my ult. Like if I'm really engaging like the way I play, I will get 40% of my ult charge. So translate that to like 60% of what it is now. That would be like maybe 80% of my ult, right? And so I can do it once per engagement, not have it like too crazy for like that limited amount of time. So if you think about it, with Rising Uppercut being his new ultimate, he's actually getting 3 different buffs, right? He's getting increased damage. He's going to be generating more shield, so he'll be recovering himself more because he can attack more, so he gets more health. And on top of that, his damage prevention goes up also another good amount because he's moving around even more because he has more things he can do. So he's taking less damage, he's generating more HP, and he's dishing out more damage. So it's like 15 seconds where he's just a super version of himself, kind of like like in Super Smash Bros. Wario, his ultimate is that he becomes Super Wario. He's the only character who just kind of buffs himself. So like this, or maybe like a more dumbed down, more technical version of Anna's ultimate, but just to himself. So I think this is 3 different buffs he'll be getting, and just becoming Super Doomfist just by adding 1 move to him. So I think that's my explanation for that. I would like to interrupt this video to ask you to like and subscribe. If you made it this far in the video, chances are you kind of like what I'm talking about. So, help me out, guys. And now with the added CC that we now gave in Doomfist with his Rising Uppercut, that might be a problem for some people, especially the Blizzard team, because, CC is horrible for the game and we don't want to go back to the worst of Overwatch 1. So we're going to have to decide if we want Rising Uppercut to have CC or not have CC. I would say if we do want Rising Uppercut to have CC, as in, people go up in the air with you when you uppercut them, I would say we should get rid of the wall stun when you punch somebody into a wall. That thing has become so useless, especially with your unpowered punch, that I don't know why it's there. I don't know why it's there. Right now with your normal fist, your unempowered fist, you punch somebody into a wall, they get stunned for 0.15 seconds. Like, come on, guys. like we don't need this. We don't need to be insulted like this. Now, when it's an empowered punch into a wall, then you get the 0.65, which is actually, you do notice that is pretty cool. But when you punch somebody in a wall, your cursor is automatically on them, so you just hold down your primary fire, and you're just gonna automatically shoot them in the head. Like you don't even need to aim; you're just automatically there. So I don't even think the wall stun is that useful, especially at this point, and especially if we get the uppercut back. Right, and it allows you to rise people into the air. And honestly, again, I'm just throwing this at you guys. Honestly, if we get his uppercut back, I would be fine with it not launching people in the air and that we lose the wall stun. like that's how much better I think this would be. Because even if you uppercut somebody and they don't go in the air with you, you can shoot them on their heads, right? You go up. That's one thing you do with Alari, right? A good way, something I do when I play Alari, I do her little rising sun thing, and then I just shoot people on the heads. It adds a different way of being able to play the game. So I don't think we need the wall stun that much, especially if we would get something like Rising Uppercut back, and whether or not it does bring people up with you. But we can discuss that in the comments. Do you guys think we should have it bring people up in the air with us, or do you think it's perfectly fine with them just staying on the ground and just taking damage? So, to move on from this topic, so now we're in a world where he has his uppercut and his power block, and we should kind of discuss how they should be working together. And I think it's obvious that it should probably work the same way it does with his rocket punch. So when he has his powered up fist, he should be able to use it with either his rocket punch or his rising uppercut. You know, when he uses his empowered fist for his rocket punch, it should just be the same thing it is now, right? Where you get increased speed, increased range, the increased pushback distance, and an increased area of effect when it hits somebody. I think all that should be applied to his uppercut. He'd probably go up higher, he'd do more damage, he'd maybe in this version, if we don't allow him to, you know, lift people up in the air when he uppercuts them, maybe when he has his empowered fist and he does his uppercut, that's when they get lifted up into the air with him. And I think limiting it to that would be awesome. I think that's a really good give and take for his rising uppercut. We get rid of all the stuns, all the wall stuns, and then the only time he can lift somebody in the air with his uppercut is when he has it empowered. Because even with the wall stun that Doomfist has right now, the fact that he could just stun somebody out of whatever action they're doing every 4 seconds is already very powerful. So I don't think we'll be losing that much by getting rid of the wall stun, because that's just to kind of keep them there for a second so you can kind of follow up or shoot them or something. I think we're good. I think we're good, especially if he gets his uppercut back. So yeah, I think the usefulness of replacing his meteor strike with a certain amount of time that gives him the rising uppercut would be insanely more useful and not OP, because the rest of his kit is already pretty strong. But we did do some gives and takes here and there, but it's not the full rework. So, you know, we're just trying to figure this out until I go through the comments, and then, you know, we kind of actually start putting in like numbers to everything. But yeah, it'll be insanely more useful, and it would give him such a much more diverse way of playing. Like, so much. You have your normal punch, empowered punch, your slam, your rising uppercut, your empowered rising uppercut, your power block. There's so much you can do. You can uppercut, shoot people in the heads. You can get your empowered fist and then launch them in the sky, then punch them off a cliff. There's so, you don't have to do the normal things everybody does. Like, it would be insane. Like, just thinking about just thinking about the potential that like some of the greats can do with this stuff, it just gets me hot and bothered, yo. Like, like, it would be insane, and I don't think it'll be OP. So yeah, like I said before, I wanted to make a video of a world where we can keep his power block and have his uppercut, and I do think there's a lot of changes that needs to be made, but I think this is the big one. I think his unempowered fist is something that needs to be looked at, but that'll probably be at the full rework video. And I'm gonna make another video of a world where the rising uppercut does replace his power block, because I know a lot of you guys don't like the power block, and I think it could work. But while I was writing the script, like, I saw that this was going to be like at least a 20-minute long video, and I didn't want this to go on for too long. I couldn't fit them both in one video. But anyways, off the top of my head, if we do the video where he doesn't have his power block anymore, he would definitely need some pretty big increases to his defensive capabilities, maybe lowering his cooldowns. But like I said before, if you just lower his cooldowns, he might become OP, because that would give an exponential buffs. That's two buffs that kind of mix into each other, right? He gets to attack more and he gets to dodge more. And I think that just giving him more overshield generated might be kind of lame, because let's say you burn down through everything you do, right? You're just kind of just standing there, or you're just gonna like walk away, or like what is it? It's, I don't know. I think it's possible, because you can always save your punch. Your punch will probably go back to, you know, being the thing that lets you escape, right? But then, I don't know, what about your empowered punch, right? You're using your empowered punch to escape now? That's kind of lame. And that's actually how it was in Overwatch 2 Season 1. You would get your empowered punch, or at least in the beta, you get your empowered punch where you had to like run away with it. And it's just like, what the heck? This is dumb. And in a world like that, you'll have the same problem that you have with Hammond, where he doesn't really do anything for his team. He just kind of goes and disrupts, and then his team's just like, where's our tank? Like, what is he doing? And he's like in the back somewhere, like on top of a building. So yeah, I'll need to think about this for a bit. And, you know, if you have any suggestions, put in the comment section. That will help me out. And yeah, I think that's it for this video. So feel free to share your ideas. Again, I'm going to go through everything everybody says. Like and subscribe. And also, don't forget, I love you.